Okay, so hi, I'm starting this video again. I've started it like 6 times now, and then I got really stressed, and then I tweeted about being stressed, and then I messaged my friend about being stressed because I don't have executive function. So that makes everything seem bigger than it is. So I got myself a cup of tea and a cookie, and I opened a picture of a cat on my iPad, so hopefully I can get this done. So who am I? I'm Ashley. I use they them pronouns. I'm a Black British non-binary femme. For me that does come under the trans umbrella. I wanted to start a channel, or we'll see where this ends up, just to document my time, because as of, it's September. As of the end of this month, I will be attending ALRA North, which is the Academy of Live and Recorded Arts in Wigan, Manchester. For those not from England, it's like Greater Manchester. It's not quite the inclusivity that you might find in central Manchester, so it should be interesting. So yeah, I'll be starting an MA in professional acting and living in Wigan for 15 months. I'm usually based here in York. Have been here since the start of uni. I think about 7 or 8 years now. I live with my boyfriend and our cat, Franklin. My girlfriend lives close by. So yeah, I'm polyamorous too. So yeah, what else do you need to know? So worries. So I should be moving soon, and I'm like in the process where I'm prepping, and I know I've got time, but I'm also like fretting over it about like, what if I miss things? What if the bills aren't on before my flatmate gets there? Because she's coming from America, so I kind of want to lift the burden of that a little bit and get everything sorted out this end so she doesn't have to do much. Which I did before, because like in my undergrad I tended to be in charge of like bills and rent and contracts and whatnot. But it's just a bit scary, I suppose, the change. Like, I'm an autistic person who likes change, but also that doesn't negate the reality that it can be incredibly stressful. And like, particularly with coronavirus happening, being in lockdown since like, I don't know when, like 5 months, I haven't seen many people. I'm slowly just easing out of it myself. I'm a little bit, the other thing that I'm really worried about is I'm like quite open about my anti-racist activism. You know, if I see anti-blackness, I'm going to call it out, even if it's a microaggression, whether it's intended or not, because intent doesn't equal impact. And I just think it's really important, particularly as someone who is like a lighter skinned black person, it does give me more privilege, in which I can then move more smoothly through the world than like a darker skinned black person can be, and I'm very aware of that. Unfortunately, over the course of lockdown, a lot of issues with past ALRA students have come to light, with anti-blackness particularly, like black women only being given maid roles, or being not allowed to audition for like Juliet, because Juliet was white. Black people existed then, but just really casual racism, things like that. Like in voice channels, they were told like you're connecting with your inner Negro, and just a load of microaggressions. I think microaggressions, and the thing with microaggressions is that it's a very nice way to tell people who are racist that we understand they weren't being intentionally racist. But at the end of the day, a microaggression is racism. I think it can be like there's different degrees of harm of them. For example, if someone were to touch my hair and they'd never met a black person before, I'd be like, step off. But, you know, I understand why you might not know that. But then there's casting the black people as maids and using the N-word with students and all of that. So I am quite worried. On top of that, I'm autistic. I'm pretty open about being autistic, but that makes me worry too, because it kind of, I don't want it used against me. I'm aware enough to see all the social rules as they play out in a scenario, and I can like pinpoint with other people where they went wrong or why that interaction didn't quite work out, which in the past is why I considered like consulting kind of business. But if you tell someone you're autistic, that kind of validates them. Well, no, they think it's validation for them to turn around and say, oh, you don't understand this because you're autistic. And I'm just very nervous that that might happen, particularly with racism, because anti-black racism. I don't want, like, my worst case scenario is someone does something that's anti-black and I say, oh, do you know that's anti-black racism? And then someone else turns around to me and goes, oh, it's not anti-black racism. They didn't mean that. You just read it wrong because you're autistic. And that, it's a scenario that could happen. And I don't want it to. I think the other thing is general worries about disability. So I have a sleep disorder, I have sleep apnea, and for a while it was left untreated until like a year ago. And for a while I couldn't do anything without like a doing things to rest ratio of like 1 hour doing things, 6 hours rest. It was really bad. I was working for a friend and I was working like 7:30 till 11:30 in the morning. And then I'd fall asleep at like 1 and I'd wake up at 8 because fatigue is a really, really big thing. So I'm quite worried about going from not having a job, corona, to a full-time schedule, because it's Monday to Friday, 9 till 5 every day, some Saturdays included. So I am worried about that. I'm quite adaptable in that once I'm like 2-3 weeks into a new routine, I find it easier to adjust and maintain it. But yeah, I really don't know if I'm going to be able to survive Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 with some Saturdays. I really don't, but part of me doing this is taking opportunities while I have them. I think I have like a bit of a guiding principle that if I can do something and the opportunity's there, I should do it even if I fail. I'd rather try it and fail than not try it and regret it. I've kind of always been like that, really. Also, I noticed that my hair is dripping still. Yeah, it's still a bit wet. I washed it. Because tomorrow I'm getting a drastic haircut, which should hopefully help with maintaining it better, because obviously, as you can see, I have a natural curly afro hairstyle, type of hair, sorry. Yeah, I think to a lesser extent, sorry, going back to drama school again, to a lesser extent, the thing that I'm kind of umming and ahhing is whether to ask people to use they them pronouns for me, because like all the closest people to me do now. But as a openly autistic and clearly Black person, it feels like giving others another way in which to target me. And I know drama school is supposed to be this big inclusive place, but it's not. That's not a current reality. Hopefully it will be in the future, but it's not the current reality. So it's a bit like, do I say, do I not say? Similarly, that's how I feel about talking to their disability services before I start. Because it's quite funny, but in accepting your place, you have to sign a contract that says where you can disclose your disabilities, and they ask, you know, they it's kind of implied that you should, and it'd be positive, so they can make accommodations. So you can say, you know, I have a long-term mental health condition, I have this disability, and I put, you know, autism. But then the second leaf of that is that you have to sign a contract to say that they're not liable to any injury caused whilst training, and that you are well enough to fully participate in the course in its entirety, which includes like fight classes, movement classes. So, I mean, I said yeah, because what, I'm going to say no, and then they say, oh, well, actually you're too disabled to come. Like, it's just ableism. So yeah, so I just closed that, but I also said, you know, I'm physically able to do this, it's fine. I don't know if I am. So I'm gonna try and see. So in my head, I've kind of got I was talking to my friend about this, and she said, you know, you're allowed home if it doesn't work out. And I was like, what? Trauma. But yeah. So in the back of my mind, I've got like, you know, try it for 2 months at least, so I've got time to kind of like develop a routine and see about the environment. But I'm just worried, I guess. And I think it's fair that I'm worried with both the internalized institutional ableism as well as the institutionalized anti-blackness. Structural. Systemic, that's the word I'm looking for, and the systemic racism. Yeah, so with trigger warning for like Black Death, Black Lives Matter movement, but with George Floyd being murdered by cops, and how that kind of reinvigorated the Black Lives Matter movement. And for like a few months there was like a wider like global consciousness that discussed all these things, and that was like, you know, it was awful. It was awful being, I mean, it still is awful. This is not a video on anti-blackness, but anyway, with it being in the more present consciousness of it's on the forefront of everyone's minds. People in drama school, obviously, they kind of, the people who have experienced anti-blackness and racism have like written open letters and things. And long story short, the drama school has been forced to publish a public inquiry into it. And I think the panel looks good. I don't really know why they need a panel to say that there's anti-blackness here, because student testimonies are enough, but whatever. So I wanted to know how the Black students are getting supported. Anyway, I tagged in I forwarded the email to 5 of the seniors of the school and ended up in a conversation with the principal. I think is it Adrian? Something Hill. And he copied and pasted a part of the public response they were giving, and then sent me a few notes about the support offered, but none of it answered my questions, and some implications quite offensive. Maybe I should do like a separate video about that, actually, in ALRA and anti-blackness and moving forward kind of video. I think I'll do that because I'm getting sleepy. Let me know if that's something you want to see, because obviously that's going to be part of my journey in navigating the whole system. So I think that should be interesting. But I think this will do as like an introductory video, who I am, slight worries, where I'm going. If you have any questions, let me know. I have pretty low energy in terms of replying to people. It depletes me quickly, but if you do put a question for me, I will try to answer it within the next video, if I don't have the energy to answer it in words online. Okay, got 1 minute left again, so that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Feel free to ask me questions. Questions make it easier to structure things. Okay, bye.